Greetings, my name is Kathy McMains and I'm a senior in the Masters of Sociology, Dementia and Aging Studies program at Texas State University. My undergraduate degree is in recreational administration with an emphasis in recreational therapy, also from Texas State. After I graduated with my bachelor's degree, I went on to become a nationally certified recreational therapist. I am in the long-term care track in the MSDA program. As an administrator in training, I am currently the admissions coordinator at a Brookdale Senior Living Continuing Care Retirement Community in Austin, Texas. I am nearing the end of a 1,000-hour internship in nursing home administration for long-term care. After I graduate this December, I plan to take both my state and federal tests for my license in nursing home administration. At that point, I will look for a position as an administrator in a skilled nursing and rehab setting, an assisted living, or a memory care community. Someday, I intend to start my own nonprofit, alternative, long-term care community, specializing in dementia care with an emphasis on intergenerational programming, community involvement, a home-like environment, and staff that is integrally involved in the decision-making and caregiving process. As the owner or manager of a long-term care community, not only will I need to understand the theoretical perspectives of aging and dementia, I will also need to implement practical applications for those theories. Over the course of my studies and through my life experiences as a recreational therapist and programs director, I have the most hands-on experience with both the activity and continuity theories of aging. I have also witnessed how elderly individuals adapt to both their changing environments and changing abilities through the process of selection, optimization, and compensation. The activity theory of aging proposes that older adults have a more positive aging experience when they stay active and maintain social interactions. This theory of aging was developed by Robert J. Havinghurst as an opposing theory to the disengagement theory of aging that was proposed by Cummings and Henry in their book Growing Old, 1961. Whereas disengagement theory states that it is natural and unavoidable for the elderly to disengage from society as they age and reach an acceptance of death, activity theory embraces engagement as essential to successful aging. Leonardson and Silverstein have found that older people who are engaged in enjoyable and productive activities and have social networks, they are less likely to be depressed than those who are not engaged. Utz, Carr, Ness, and Wortman, 2002, discovered that it is not solely the participation in the activities themselves that enhances well-being in the elderly, but rather the socializing that accompanies the engagement in the activity. Continuity theory states that older people will generally continue to do the things they have done in their earlier life, often with necessary adaptations in order to maintain their life as they have known it. This is a picture of a lifelong musician. Whereas he's no longer able to read and play music like he used to, he has adapted by listening to his own selection of music with headphones, so as not to disturb the other residents around him. Continuity theory is, in essence, an elaboration of activity theory with the addition of a life course perspective to explain the process of successful aging throughout the lifespan, often through the process of selection, optimization, and compensation. Some of the ways that I have and will continue to incorporate these theories are through an activity calendar full of a wide range of activities encompassing the physical, emotional, spiritual, social, intellectual, and purposeful activities. I have performed many life history interviews with residents and their families in order to assess their interests and goals, abilities, likes and dislikes, and past experiences. I have led small group activities with varying levels of ability to ensure success, purposeful activities, and of course, adapting activities to fit individuals. Speaking of which, I couldn't talk about my life experience in the MSDA program and my future career goals without talking about person-centered care. My greatest focus in my career will ultimately be on person-centered care. No matter what type of facility or community that I will own or manage, person-centered care is a way of thinking that sees people as individuals involved in the process of care. Person-centered care is not just about giving people whatever they want. Person-centered care is about considering people's desires and preferences within the context of their values, ethnicity, family, social circumstances, their lifestyles and past experiences, interests, abilities, skills. A person-centered model of care helps to shift our primary focus away from the disease-dominated medical model of care to incorporate a social model of care as well. Person-centered care focuses on the individual needs and abilities of a person rather than on the individual's deficiencies, or even worse, on what is most efficient for the care provider. People, no matter what age, are individuals. People with pasts, preferences, and personalities. According to Dawn Brooker, 2004, the 4 components of person-centered care can be represented by the following equation. PCC equals V plus I plus P plus S, where V stands for valuing people, with or without dementia, including those who care for them. I is for treating people as individuals. P stands for looking at the world from the perspective of the person. And S stands for a social environment, one that is positive. I plan to incorporate all of the above in my care for elders and those with dementia in the future. The big D. What is the D in the MSDA program? The D stands for dementia. Dementia is not a specific disease. It is a descriptive term for a collection of symptoms that can be caused by a number of disorders that affect the brain. Some of the diseases that can cause symptoms of dementia are Alzheimer's disease, vascular dementia, Lewy body dementia, frontotemporal dementia, Huntington's disease, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. Doctors have also identified other conditions that can cause dementia or dementia-like symptoms, including reactions to medications, nutritional deficiencies, metabolic conditions or endocrine abnormalities, infections or poisonings, brain tumors, anoxia or hypoxia, conditions that affect the brain's supply of oxygen. Although it's common in very elderly individuals, dementia is not a normal part of the aging process. People with dementia have significantly impaired intellectual functioning that interferes with their activities of daily living. Some of the common symptoms of dementia are an inability to solve problems. Those with dementia may experience personality changes, behavioral expressions, impaired language skills, inability to control their emotions, along with memory loss and impaired intellectual functioning. Combining our understanding of dementia, person-centered care, and aging theories is important for understanding the experience of living with dementia. Sociologist Thomas Kitwood described the person with dementia as a person in the fullest sense. He or she is still an agent, one who can make things happen in the world, a sentient, relational, and historical being. And to be a person is to have a certain status, to be worthy of respect. In keeping with the social model of care, respecting the personhood of those being cared for, it is just as important to keep in mind the individuals who are providing that care. Nolan, Ryan, Enderby, and Reed, 2002, propose that good care requires that everyone involved in the caring process be considered through a framework of 6 senses. The senses that are included in this framework are sense of security, feeling safe while delivering or receiving compassionate care. A sense of continuity, recognizing and appreciating the importance of an individual's history and experience. A sense of belonging, opportunities to form meaningful relationships or feel part of a team. A sense of purpose, opportunities to engage in purposeful activities. A sense of fulfillment, achieving personal goals and feeling a sense of satisfaction. And a sense of significance, having a feeling of being a valued person. Though the senses framework should apply to caregivers, there is as much potential for caregivers to feel neglected. This can sometimes limit their capacity to provide care. One of the major challenges that I hope to affect is turnover rate. Given my understanding of the senses framework, I intend to implement strategies to increase employee retention. I have learned that although job satisfaction and perceived job characteristics may be predictors of an individual's intent to stay in their job, however, when it comes down to contingency factors such as financial and personal circumstances, these have a much greater impact on an employee's ability to remain in their position. I intend to make a difference by providing person-centered training and life skills training to assist employees not only in job skills, but the quality of their lives and in the lives of their families. I will have a caregiver support group for employees and family members. I intend to empower, enrich, and educate others. I may not be very involved in the politics of care, but I am an advocate for human rights and for the respectful treatment of others. I was particularly impressed by Alzheimer's Scotland because they developed the panel principles, which are a human rights-based approach to treating people with dementia. These principles ensure that all the legislation and policy and strategies affecting people with dementia are grounded in and built upon basic human rights. This approach is empowering the citizens of Scotland to make sure that they know their rights and they fight for them. This approach is also increasing accountability of the lawmakers and business owners and institutions to guarantee fair treatment in business and lawmaking policies. The panel principles are participation, accountability, non-discrimination, empowerment, and legality. Participation means that people with dementia have the right to participate in decisions which affect them. Accountability is the effective monitoring of the human rights standards and remedies for human rights breaches. Non-discrimination and equality means that all forms of discrimination are prohibited. They're prevented and eliminated. Empowerment means that individuals and communities should understand their rights and should be fully supported to participate in the process of care. And legality is the recognition of rights as legally enforceable. As an advocate, I plan to put into practice the panel principles. I lead a monthly community support group for the caregivers of and persons living with dementia. In this role, I educate families and caregivers regarding best practices, upcoming community events and conferences, research opportunities, and caregiving strategies. I also have been a committee chair for the Walk to End Alzheimer's and intend to participate in a similar role in the future. I facilitate a group email forum for caregiver support, which distributes information also regarding best practices in community events and support groups. The classwork involved in the MSDA program has enabled me to expand my understanding of the vast scope of long-term care. And in the environmental management class, I compared various types and conditions of long-term care facilities, focusing on floor plan analysis, facility construction, housekeeping, maintenance, capacity limits, work environment, organizational culture, and the customer satisfaction that is based on these conditions of the environment. In the governance management of long-term care, I studied the regulations for the operation of long-term care facilities as decreed and enforced by state and federal governments. We reviewed the minimum requirements for licensure and the standards for Medicare and Medicaid certification in Texas. We discussed the governing bodies and their policies, procedures, plans of correction, and punishments. In the personnel management of long-term care, I read motivational and case study-based management issues in long-term care, primarily in the areas of human resources and public relations and marketing. Some examples included staff recruitment and retention programs, as discussed earlier, training needs analysis, and marketing plan formulations. In the resident care management class, I learned all about the administrative side of the nursing care, how to gather and compare quality indicators, and the various types of geriatric pharmacology that were utilized in long-term care facilities. In the financial management class, I learned how to record and measure the fiscal performance of long-term care facilities. I learned the many differences and regulations between non- and for-profit facilities. I learned methods of tracking and enhancing revenue and census development. This has certainly come in handy in my current position as admissions coordinator. Lastly, I am only a few hours shy of completing my 1,000-hour internship. This has afforded me the opportunity to work 50-plus hours a week while getting hands-on experience in both the discharge and admissions departments. Additionally, the checklist required by the internship has touched on every portion of the environment in the long-term care community that I work, including marketing, therapy, nursing, programming, finance, management, housekeeping, maintenance. Thank you, Todd. In preparing for both my state and federal nursing home administrator's license exams, I am thankful for the Do You Know weekly assignments from long-term care governance management. Each week, we were required to know 15 new regulations from the Texas Administrative Code, Title IV, Part 1, Chapter 19. I scoured through the 26 subchapters of Chapter 19 to find these regulations by number. Because these assignments involved searching through the actual Texas Administrative Code, it helped me to get to know the scope and details of the regulations. Paul John Studer introduced his book Hardwiring Excellence with the quote, "Blessed is the influence of one true, loving human soul on another," by George Eliot. I believe that Studer is conveying that we cannot do the hard work of caring without a loving attitude. Studer states that his book is about an individual's commitment to hard-wiring excellence, and at the very heart of the journey are passion and caring. I am on that journey. The education that I have received through the MSDA program has been invaluable in my career and has given much context to my own personal experiences. Both of my dear grandmothers were named Dorothy. My paternal grandma Dorothy was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease and passed away in 2013. My maternal grandma Dorothy is actively involved in her community and church and family. She loves to cook for them and go for walks and volunteer at her church. When I open my own alternative long-term care community, I plan to call it Dorothy's House in honor of my amazing grandmothers.